I made just shy of $85,000 last month selling AI agents, with over half of that being monthly recurring revenue, meaning it's guaranteed to come in every single month. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to sell the two most profitable AI agents that I've sold within my own career. So by the end of this video, you're not only going to learn what the agent is, how to sell it, how much to actually sell it for, and who to delegate the back-end work to, but also it's going to transform the way you think about AI agents. In this space right now, it's 99% dominated by technical people who are really good on the back end but can't particularly sell and build relationships with business owners. So my goal is to change your perspective on how truly simple AI agents and running an AI business really is. This isn't going to be a long video, maybe 15 to 20 minutes long, and there's so much fluff in the AI space, so I'm going to do my best to teach you everything I know about selling these two AI agents. Make sure to watch till the end of this video, and I promise you it will be a game changer, whether you're looking to tack on another AI agent to your services that you've already been providing, or you're looking to get into the business model right now and offer the two most profitable AI agents. So let's hop right into the video, and I want to first highlight the misconception of what an AI agency really is and how to actually make money selling these AI agents. Now, within the space right now, people think I need to run a business, I need to do every single part of that business myself. I see all this motivational content telling me to work 8 to 12 hours a day doing everything so that I grind and I make money. And that's just simply not the case with this business model. Even if you work that much doing everything yourself, you're going to make way less money. And the reason being, let's say you're person one in this scenario and I'm person two, right? Let's say you're person one in this scenario. So you see an online video saying, get into the AI space, which I totally agree. It's 100% the best business model to start right now. But they tell you, you need to grind and you need to get all the experience and do everything yourself. Meaning you need to do all the outreach, get the clients, cold call, cold email, run ads, whatever you're doing, right? Then you need to hop on all the sales calls yourself. Remember, you have 100% equity in this business. Everything is on you. Then you have to actually sign that client, onboard that client all yourself, and only then do you start actually building out the AI agent on the back end. Okay, so that's person one in this scenario. Now let's jump into person two, which is me. I have years of experience, but anyways, all I do within my business that I have 80% equity in is hop on the sales calls and manage these teams. I get my dopamine from selling AI agents to these clients, them spending 10, 15, 20K upfront, hitting my bank account. That's what I like to do, and that's what my role within my own business, even though I'm the CEO, that's still my role within the business. Okay, so we have person one and person two. Person one is doing all these things themselves, everything on their own, and person two, me, is only hopping on sales calls and only selling these AI agents, and that's where all their time is going. Let's say 5 customers come through each pipeline and eventually buy an AI agent. You are maxed out for the next 2 to 3 months because you have to do the entire sales process yourself. Remember, once you sign a client, you have to develop that agent, but at the same time, you have to start doing outreach again to get the next client in the pipeline, right? Versus me, I hop on that sales call, I sign that client, and I hop on the next sales call because I have people doing the outreach. I have developers doing all the back-end work for my business so I can focus on my highest leverage tasks, actually bringing revenue into the business. So in this case, your profit margin is 100%, right? Really good. You're making a ton of money. My profit margin, on the other hand, is say 75%. So you have 100% profit margin while I only have a measly 75% profit margin. Zach, wait, why do you only have a 75% profit margin? Well, remember, I have people doing my outreach and I have developers actually building out the backend systems for me, right? So 20% goes to my developers to do all the backend fulfillment work, and 5% goes to the people who run my ads and just look over everything on the outreach side of the business. Okay, so you have your 100% profit margin and I have my 75 profit margin, which actually gets me my developers plus my ads managers and outreach people, right? So you may be asking, Zach, why is having a 75% profit margin better? You're delegating, but you're making less money. But what you don't understand with having 100% profit and doing everything yourself, you can't sign more than 2 clients a month. It's physically impossible because to deliver a 10 out of 10 product on the back end, you need to spend 2 to 3 weeks of 8 hours a day developing these agents. And at the same time, you need to focus on the outreach, getting more leads in, hopping on more sales calls. It's physically impossible to take on a large majority of clients. However, with my 75% profit margin, I can take on as many clients as I want because guess what? I fill my calendar up for sales calls. I sell 3 AI agents that day. I make $30,000 in a single day. That's an extreme use case. I've only done that a few times. But if I have a killer day, guess what? I delegate those back-end jobs to my team of developers who's vetted, who's 10 out of 10, who I completely trust. These guys aren't Upwork. They're not Fiverr. They're developers from the US, they know what they're doing, and they deliver a 10 out of 10 product on the back end every single time, which gets me more referrals and more upsells because they do such a good job. The client either wants a new AI agent or they tell all their friends about it. So I sell those agents, my developers handle the work, and guess what? The next day on Tuesday, I still get to fill out my calendar with more meetings and sell more agents. I don't have to focus on development. I could bring more cash into the business, and guess what? If my developers have too much work, I just hire more. I do a longer interview process and I get more developers in the gate. That's exactly how you want to run a business in 2026, because if you can only take on 2 clients a month and your average job equals 10K versus me, let's say I can handle 10 clients a month and my average job is 10K. That's how I'm having these $80, $90, $100,000 months, because I consistently have developers to handle the back end work, so I can consistently hop on these sales calls and I'm never held up within one process of the business. Okay, so now we got that completely out of the way, because I've had way too many arguments of business owners doing $50,000, $40,000, $30,000 a month when I'm double that, telling me, Zach, you need to spend more work on the development side of your business, when I'm making more money because I'm able to sell AI agents. Plus, like I said before, I hate to repeat myself, but I get 0 dopamine from sitting there in back-end systems. I'm not good at it. I don't like doing it. So why would I do it when I could have someone who I trust and is way better than me for 20%, which will allow me to make way more money in the long run? It's a no-brainer. And you could flip-flop this. If you're good on the technical side, but you don't want to do the sales, hire someone to do the sales, give them 20% commission off every deal they sign, and do the back end. That's just how I run the business, and I think about things logically of what I like to do so it's sustainable, and I could do this for the next 10 to 20 years. But now let's jump straight into the 2 best AI agents I've been selling personally that you should replicate right now. You know what? I'll also give you the best niches to sell those AI agents to. Now, agent number 1, and bear with me now because I know you've heard about this, but you haven't heard about it from the context that I'm about to talk about, is a voice agent. Now, there's an inbound and outbound voice agent. Inbound voice agents are an AI receptionist that you've heard all over online, which answer calls, book appointments, answer FAQs, and can transfer the phone to a representative if needed. Now, we've heard about the inbound receptionists 1,000 times now. They're kind of saturated, don't get me wrong. I've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of AI receptionists, and they were great in their time, but now, like I said, everyone's trying to sell these. In the market of AI, PSA to all you guys looking to get into the space, wherever the market is headed, head the other way. An example of this is I just scrolled on Instagram Reels before filming this video for about 5 minutes, and I saw 5 to 10 Instagram Reels with over 1 million views talking about Claude systems. If that many people are messing around with Claude, starting to look into Claude systems, Claude skills, Claude artifacts, then going down that route isn't gonna make you money. It's like TikTok Shop, right? Everyone got into it, but now there's so many people selling on TikTok Shop, it's so hard to make money. And you need to think about these things when starting a business, especially in AI, right? So if everyone's going down this route of an inbound receptionist, that means there is still positives with that, right? There's pros because business owners are hearing about it, they know about the technology, and they're thinking about implementing a voice agent. But if you take a different approach to pitch, say, an outbound agent, which are killer for me right now, my second top selling AI agent. We'll get into the first later on in this video. You will make so much money, and I bet you've never even heard about an outbound agent and how they work, so let me walk through it right now. So nowadays, every single business has an online presence, whether that's a website, whether that's an Instagram profile, whether they run ads, they have a good Google or Yelp reviews. Like, there are so many directions that businesses can take their online reputation, right? But all of them follow the same structure that at least are trying to get paid from their online presence, right? They have an ad, content, or their Google profile. Let's say they're popping on Yelp, or they have a ton of Google reviews, or they have a bunch of Instagram followers, right? They funnel those leads from their ads, content, or Google into a landing page. A landing page, you bet on 1 million of them, is when you click a link or you search up plumbers near me and you click get quote, and it brings you to a page where you have to fill out all your information. And typically at the end of that page, once you become a qualified customer, and this goes for every business, right? You want to make sure that the people filling out your forms actually are looking for your service. So they fill out that form, and at the end of that form, you put in your phone number. And if you're a qualified customer, their number one goal is to get to you as quick as possible, speed to lead, right? So most businesses typically have an employee that's sitting there waiting for these forms to get called out to call them as soon as possible. But humans are humans get busy, and humans are lazy. So they typically don't end up getting to that lead quickly, 20, 30, 40 minutes. And if you know anything about speed to lead, if you're not getting to that lead within 5 minutes, I'm sorry, but they're going to the next lead on Google. If you're a plumber and they fill in all their information and you don't give them a call back, they're just going to call the next plumber down the line. So what I've been selling recently, and it's absolutely been crushing, is an outbound speed to lead agent. So here's exactly how the speed to lead agent works, right? So the form gets filled out and they get the phone number. The lead immediately goes to the CRM, and the agent is connected to the CRM, and within 20 seconds, it calls that lead immediately. This agent solves 3 huge pain points for the business owner. Obviously, the first is the cost for that employee to sit there and simply dial those leads. The second is the speed to lead. You will never lose a customer due to speed to lead because it calls them right away within 20 seconds. There's no delay, and there's no lazy human that doesn't get to those leads. And the third is the time spent training these employees. That's what a lot of people actually forget about, and the business owners hit on hard. They say, Zach, I spend so much time training these employees on exactly what to say, on the exact process to make sure to qualify these leads and book them into the calendar. But it just takes so much time, and they often don't even listen to what I'm saying. And this is a huge issue. And that's why us training the knowledge base exactly how the client wants, so it gives the exact responses that the client is looking for, transforms their entire business. So when pricing the speed to lead agent, you could take it 2 ways, the upfront model and the monthly recurring revenue model. Now for this agent, every single time I would recommend the monthly recurring revenue, just because you're replacing an employee that you typically have to pay commission for. When replacing an employee that you have to pay commission for, it's very hard to charge 10, 15, 20K up front just because it's not justified, right? They see the numbers, they say, I only have to pay this guy 5% commission and I have to pay you $10,000 up front. This is ridiculous. But with monthly recurring revenue, you say, hey, look, that 5% commission for that employee to dial these leads ends up being $4,000 or $5,000 a month, with the speed to lead being shit. Plus, you have to train them, do all the stuff that we talked about earlier. This AI agent costs $2,000 or $3,000 a month, fixes all your pain points. Now you're making $24,000 to $36,000 a year off this client with a 95% profit margin because you do have to pay for the software. This agent is an absolute killer for me right now because it's so easy to sell. You simply have to put numbers behind their pay and say, hey, look, your show up rate to these calls is only 50% because you're getting to these leads 20 to 30 minutes after they fill out the form. Your speed to lead is terrible. Also, you're spending 5%, which is $5 to $6 grand on this employee to have bad speed to lead and do a terrible job. This AI agent not only will scale with your business, not only completely fixes your speed to lead problem, but it's also cheaper. It's a no-brainer, and these businesses eat this shit up. And lastly, what's so great about this agent is that recurring revenue, guys. If you stack on just 5 of these clients, minimum, you're making $10,000 a month. If you stack up 50 of these clients, which honestly isn't that hard, you're making over $1 million a year in recurring revenue. You don't have to worry about the headache like I do of signing new clients. So a speed to lead agent is the perfect starter agent to sell. And if you're not already selling this, or you just are hearing about this now, please start. It will transform your business. Now let's jump straight into the quoting agent, which has been my top selling AI agent over the last 6 months. And it's absolutely insane and can make you so much money. The reason being, every single service-based business has to give quotes because customers call in with their specific issue. They want to know how much it's going to cost for them, how much their competitors cost, and if your quote's the best, you'll get the job. So these businesses have to send out anywhere from 20 to 50 quotes a day, and each one typically takes 10 to 15 minutes. This means on the low end, these business owners, because it's a high leverage task that not every employee can do, have to spend 2.5 hours every single day quoting. You may be asking, Zach, there's no way it takes 10 to 15 minutes per quotes. They have this shit automated, and that's not the case. I've sold so many of these, and their systems are so bad. Let's say we're working with a mobile mechanic, because I've just sold a bunch of these and it's a very good niche to start with, right? That mobile mechanic has to send out vans to different locations based off, okay, someone's Honda Civic broke down on the side of the road. They called in saying, hey, I need my rotors to be fixed and I think my brakes are broken. that person on the other end of the line has to plug in, okay, into their CRM or into their part supplier, those specific parts for that specific model, see how much it costs for them, add their market fee because they do have a market fee, incorporate, okay, they're 30 minutes away, how much is gas going to cost? Okay, what's the mechanic's hourly rate that we have to send out? They have to get all this information, plug it into a calculator, figure out how much it's going to cost for them just to give a customer a free quote, and that customer probably won't even end up working with them, right? So there's so much work that goes into each quote, and they have to do so many a day. So this quoting agent completely saves their life. So in simple terms, what we do to actually build out this agent is we have the part supplier in this case, right? So we connect to the part supplier, we get the business SOPs, so labor rates, fees, all this stuff, and we train the knowledge base to be able to connect to the part supplier, pull the parts, understand the markup rates, the fees, and the labor rates of the employees to give a quote in seconds rather than spending so much time going through the entire part supplier, picking and choosing the exact parts that they need. The AI agent can do all this for the client, which saves them so much time. You know what? I'm also feeling generous, and nobody does this online, and it's very confusing on how to get started and what these agents actually look like, because if you're primarily selling AI agents, you're not interacting with the back end, and it's hard to know how to sell it without actually interacting with it. So right now I'm going to show you a live demo of a quoting agent we built for a mobile mechanic, exactly what I was just talking about, that we just implemented within a real business, so you could see how it actually works and how much time it truly saves the customer. So as you can see here, this is an internal chatbot, meaning the customers don't get to see this. This is only for the employees. So the customer calls in asking for a quote, and the employees come into this chatbot and fill in all the information. Let me show you. So customer calls in, hey, my brakes are broken. How much is it going to cost for my Honda Civic to get fixed? And this is exactly what the employee has to do. Instead of going to the part supplier doing all this stuff, they just have to come into this agent. So in 99% of cases, they would have gotten the customer's vehicle model. So let's plug that in. And then it simply says, what is the vehicle model? And you have to input the exact vehicle that they have. So to keep it simple for this demo, let's say they have a Honda Civic. So let's type in 2017 Honda Civic, and right away, it's going to spout out every single vehicle model for that 2017 Honda Civic. So in this case, Honda Civic DX, EX, Sport, Sport Pro, all the models. So what you have to do is copy and paste the specific number from the model that the client has. So in this example, let's say they have a 2017 Honda Civic Sport. So in this case, you copy and paste this number right here and click enter. So here the agent asks, what's the issue? So let's say the customer was facing squeaking, grinding, and let's also say they wanted the fastest possible support from the business. And then bam, look, it spouts out the rundown of the specific parts required, all the prices, what's the markup rate, the labor rate, the fees, every single thing that the business owner would want to know when pricing a job, it gives you, and then you could just send this right over to the client. Look at all the information you get and how much time this actually saves the business owner. I know this looks cool to you guys, but I want you to remember the pain points. This business owner in particular right here was spending 3 hours every single day sending out free quotes. That time went from 3 hours a day to 5 minutes a day after implementing this AI quoting agent. That's a game changer, and that's why I'm able to charge so much money for this AI agent. And remember, this is only an internal chatbot, meaning only the business owner gets to see this. Right now, we're working on an upsell for this specific client for an external chatbot, meaning the customer goes to their website, plugs in all the information, and they get the quote on their own. Obviously, it doesn't have the labor rates and all that stuff. It just gives them one flat number, but that's going to be a complete game changer because now the business owner doesn't even have to spend time plugging information into the chatbot. Now, when pricing the quoting agent, it's the same two models as the speed to lead agent. However, I would do a hybrid of both. Now, I've set up a ton of these, and because there is a lot of work for the developers on the front end to actually build out this agent and less maintenance, I'd settle for around $12,000 to $20,000 for the setup fee, just because you want to make a lot of cash up front. It's a big and grueling development phase, but also at the same time, you do have to constantly update the agent and make sure it's quoting accurately for the client. And that's exactly why I charge a $1,000 to $2,000 monthly retainer for the client to, one, keep the systems up to date, but to two, also make a little bit of money for yourself. Now, when selling this quoting agent in particular, there are a few things to remember. Now, you never ever, and I'm talking for any AI agent sale, you never want to sell based off the features, right? So in this case, you don't want to say it has access to your knowledge base, it has access to your part supplier, we could train the knowledge base to have your labor rate, fees, everything, like a brain for your business. No, you do not want to pitch it in this way. You don't want to sell AI based off features because business owners will get overwhelmed and they won't believe you. You want to sell AI based off their pain, right? So in this case, they are spending hours a day sending out free quotes. I'm talking so much time that's completely wasted, right? A business owner has way higher leverage tasks than sending out free quotes. It's a complete and utter waste of time. So in their case, you want to say, hey, look, what would you be doing in your free time if you had this 2 to 3 hours back to help scale your business, right? They're going to think of 1,000,001 ideas that are all higher leverage than sending out free quotes all day, right? This agent is incredibly easy to sell because, guys, these businesses need it. A lot of the time with the AI receptionist that everyone's trying to sell, the business doesn't really need it. They have a good team. They like their receptionist, and you're trying to pitch them something over and over again that they don't need. But in this case, they're directly spending so much time doing a task that this agent is completely relieving. So if you sell it right, if you're not selling based off the features and you're selling based off the pain, it's honestly one of the easiest agents to sell. Okay, so we talked about the top 2 AI agents to sell. We talked about what they specifically do, how to sell them, how to price them. Now let's talk about how to actually outreach and get these clients, because I know you guys are wondering, like, Zach, you have a high ad spend. You're kind of an anomaly in this process of starting an AI agency just because you've been in the space for a long time. You know what you're talking about. You have a lot of experience. But me getting started from scratch or running a small 10 to 20K per month agency, how do I get leads knocking on my door that are actually qualified? So I've narrowed it down to 3 main models, right? There's ads, there's cold calling, and there's my partner model. Now with ads, they're very expensive. I spend $10,000 a month on paid ads, which brings me very good traffic, don't get me wrong, and business owners come to me looking to implement AI agents, and it's a super good process. But when you're a smaller agency or you're getting started from zero, it's very hard to put money into ads when you don't have any money, right? The second model is cold calling. Now, I personally got my first client through cold calling, but it is a grueling process, if I say the least, right? It's very time consuming and there's a very low success rate. So I honestly wouldn't settle for cold calling. And last but not least is the partner model that I completely invented. Nobody online is talking about this, and it's 100% the best way to get clients without having to spend any money or without having to spend hours and hours cold calling, cold emailing, or cold DMing. It's 100% the best way to outreach. So Zach, what is the partner model? And I want you guys to think with me. I want to do a little quiz here. Where do you think the ideal business owners that we as AI agency owners want to work with hang out? Like, who has connections to these top level businesses who have a ton of leads, who have a bunch of volume, but need AI to be implemented to scale to the next level? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it, but you guys need to remember, you need to actually talk to business owners and pitch to business owners who are actually interested in your product, right? A lot of people are cold calling business owners and they're saying, Zach, how do I get people to show up to the meeting? They're saying yes, but they never show up. But it's like, you're cold calling them out of nowhere. 90% of the time they're saying yes just to get you off the phone, right? So you want to talk to business owners who have been thinking about implementing AI for a while, but just don't know how and don't want to go through the process of learning how to do it themselves. So with that being said, the number one way to get clients right now who are actually interested in implementing an AI agent right now is to partner up with marketing agencies. The reason marketing agencies are so good to partner up with is because their sole job and their sole business model is to bring their customers more leads. So if said marketing agency is doing a good job at their entire business model, which is bringing their customers more leads, and they have 20 to 30 customers, they have a whole army of customers who have a ton of leads because they're doing a good job, who need to implement AI agents into their business to handle the immense new volume of leads. So how you actually partner up with these marketing agencies is you go to them and say, hey, look, you have a whole client base of clients who need to implement AI to help them with their lead volume. I'll give you 20 to 30% commission for every client you refer to me. And you need to remember, you're selling these AI agents for anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 up front. So that's 2 to 3K per client that they refer off doing nothing. It's a no-brainer for them, and it's a no-brainer for you because you're still making 50 to 60% profit margins after paying your developers plus the marketing agency, and you basically have free money and you don't even have to work or pay for the lead. Imagine you stack up 5 to 10 marketing agencies who are all referring you a ton of clients, and that's a complete game changer. And that's how I got kicked off before I started spending money on ads. Before I had a whole client base that was referring me to their friends because we do such a good job, marketing agencies were what completely transformed my business. If you guys are interested in working with my team of developers to help you with all your back-end fulfillment, as well as my network of marketing agencies to actually refer you clients, please apply below. I can't take on everyone just because my developers can't work with everyone and I don't have very many agencies that I can refer to. But if you have a good application, I'd love to speak with you one-on-one. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions on next videos,